Now, as I said, statisticians used to love this analysis of variance table very much, and for a long time they would try to see how they can generalize this concept of analysis of variance to fit cases even where the orthogonality condition was not met. Now, when will the orthogonality condition be not met? There were two very important situations where that happened. One is when you have got interaction. When you have interaction, you really cannot say whether a particular input has effect or not, because that depends on what value some other input is held at. So obviously you cannot meaningfully come up with an ANOVA table, look at one F statistic and immediately conclude that, hey, that particular input is effective or not effective, because that F statistic merely looks at only that factor without caring about what the other factors are. So that is one situation where this is bound to fail. There is another situation where also it fails somewhat unexpectedly, is when you have an unbalanced model. What is meant by an unbalanced model? When we work with that a single factor input, I said that unbalanced means that when ni's are different. So under different varieties, you have different number of plots. If you have the same number of plot under each variety, in that case you call that a balanced situation. Now, when you have only a single factor, whether it is balanced or unbalanced doesn't matter, you always have the orthogonality trivially, because you have only one set of vectors to work with, only one subspace. So it is orthogonal to everything else, there is nothing else. However, when you have more than one, then if the situation is not balanced, that is, if you have two inputs like fertilizer and variety, then you have got these cells, these fertilizer variety combinations. And under each of them, you have a number of plots. So if I consider such a combination as I, j, ith variety and jth fertilizer, then the total number of plots under that, I suppose I call it nij, then if all the nij's are the same, they are free of I and j, that is a balanced situation. If the nij's vary, at least one nij is different from the rest, that is an unbalanced situation. And in an unbalanced situation, you find that the orthogonality condition breaks down. Now, this was a serious blow to the idea of orthogonality, because even if you start an experiment with all the nij's same, it may happen because of some accident that one of the plots become unusable. In that case, your orthogonality structure that you had planned just collapses, and you cannot come up with an analysis of variance table. The entire idea falls flat. Because of these two reasons, this need for generalizing it arose, and people would just try to coerce the concept to make it fit even for these situations. So what they would do mathematically would amount to carrying out Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization on the columns of X. So they have this bunch of columns, they are not, this bunch is not orthogonal to that bunch. Well, you start with one bunch, apply Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization to remove the effect of this bunch from that bunch. Whatever is remaining, you consider that as that effect corrected for this effect. So it is like this, you will have an interpretation like the fertilizer effect corrected for variety effect. By this they mean that you take all the columns of the fertilizer parameters, and from that you take the orthogonal projection of the variety columns out. Whatever is remaining, that is guaranteed to be orthogonal to the variety columns. You give it the interpretation of that is the effect of fertilizer after correcting for the effect of variety. Now, I am not giving you any mathematical form for that, because even when I say it, you understand it's a very confusing thing. What does that really mean? For a long time, statisticians would try to do that. And then Now they have given up. They understand that yes, we can carry out transmediate orthogonalization. That is not a problem. I can always split up this Rn into some mutually orthogonal subspaces, but you cannot interpret them in any meaningful way. So now people do not associate much importance to this analysis of variance table, and that is why I am not giving you any further details. Even when we were students, we were taught how to write down analysis of variance tables analytically for certain special simple cases. But nowadays, no one really cares about that, and even standard softwares do not produce that analysis of variance table as part of their default output. They will give it only if you ask for it. In earlier days, that analysis of variance table was the main display in the output.